Good afternoon on a Tuesday without tacos to munch on, but instead a piece of positive news you could sink your teeth into. While it has been the bane of many a country's economic ruin coming out of the pandemic, the Marcos Jr.'s administration has managed to navigate the financial straits as a tad or a lot better than most of its allies in the region. In today's Presidential Communications Office presser, one of the president's top technocrat or economic managers waxed optimistic today on the government's management of inflation, saying the 4.4% inflation in July, then 3.3% last month, could still drop as low as 2.5% for the month of September. And though he added the inflation rate would pick up in the last quarter of this year as a result of increased consumer spending and higher prices on seasonal products, the full year's inflation would still average at 3.4% thereabouts.
With the president insofar as inflation is concerned, and the good news is that inflation is on a downward trend. Last year, inflation was about 6.1%. Today, we're roughly at 3.3%. We expect inflation to go down to 2.5% by September. At ang pinakamahalaga, palagay ko meron tayong sapat na bigas at hamon sa Pasko.
Less than 120 days are left in his time as the leader of the free world and most powerful man on the planet. In less than 2 weeks, the first-year anniversary of the Hamas attack on Israel that left 1,200 Jews and foreign nationals dead will be up. Tomorrow, POTUS Joe Biden will address the United Nations General Assembly for the last time. The speech will focus on the top agenda of U.S. foreign policy, a ceasefire to the Gaza war and releasing all the remaining hostages from Hamas captivity, and keeping Ukraine in the fight against Russia in their ongoing war. And though Biden will receive a warm welcome and applause in his valedictory address for rebuilding alliances that scarred in the time of his predecessor, there can be no celebrating on his Gaza policy that has completely fallen short of its objectives, and even on the Ukraine, which continues to struggle to keep its resistance against Russia moving forward for not getting the weapons it needs on time. Then again, outgoing POTUS Joe Biden has more to celebrate for achievements in his foreign policy than the misses or failures. Even worse, world leaders and or their representatives in tomorrow's UN Assembly are on edge on another Trump presidency that could scuttle all the best laid plans and programs established between the United States and its partners and allies. And news media in Afghanistan are among the least free on the planet. Still, media students are keen to learn more about the trade amid Taliban restrictions. VOA's Afghan service narrates the story.
In this classroom in Kabul, Afghanistan, a new generation of journalists is learning about media. But students at the Waisal Education Center are starting their careers at a difficult time for the industry. They say restrictions by the country's Taliban government make it difficult for them to pursue their passion, a career in journalism. They also want experience working at the country's remaining newsrooms.
There are restrictions on media. We want these restrictions to be removed. Second, we request media organizations to provide us with the opportunity to work to become familiar with working in studios.
Uthman Zai and his fellow students are starting out in journalism under dire conditions. Since the Taliban's return to power in 2021, media have worked under increasing censorship and economic hardships. Once a vibrant media scene, Afghanistan is now the third worst country for press freedom, ranking below North Korea and Iran, according to media watchdog Reporters Without Borders. Still, teachers at Waisal Education Center say that their students are still passionate about journalism.
They hope they will be able to work one day in the media. The restrictions and problems will not be there forever.
The Waisal Center may have students, but none are women. The Taliban banned women from education after primary school level, and dozens of female journalists can no longer work in media. Those who do must appear fully covered on screen. Rahima Naimi is a former lecturer of journalism at Rana University in Kabul. She says journalism was a popular field of study before the Taliban's return.
There were many women in higher education, particularly in journalism. There were many students dreaming of graduating and taking part in the field.
Women in Afghanistan still take online classes in journalism that Naimi and some organizations offer from outside Afghanistan's borders. But even with the training, fewer jobs remain. Dozens of media outlets have shuttered since the takeover.
Unfortunately, media outlets can't create jobs anymore because of economic problems. Their personnel have decreased. The solution is that the international community should help the media financially so they can employ these educated and passionate youth.
While the country's media grapples with a tough environment, the next generation of journalists is learning the skills they need in the hope that restrictions will ease. For VOA Afghan Service, Bejan Hamdard, VOA News.
And that's a wrap for today. Join us anew later tonight for our evening edition news break. Please stay connected by catching the news right here. I am William Theo, and thank you for watching PTV News Now.